Okay, we should be live. Let's see. Okay, hey, welcome back to this impromptu install session on the on what? On the Precision Data Analytic channel. We'll take a look at another distro from DistroWatch website, which is all about tracking Linux distributions. And tonight today we're going to take a look at a distribution called DebEX. It is a fork, a clone of Puppet Linux. So let's get this started. I gave it 25 gigabytes of space, 16 gigabytes of memory, and 4 processors as usual. Now, Puppet Linux is a very small installation. It's designed to be a minimal installation, okay? I actually had it running for a while. Well, look at this, scale mode. I will mention this also uses what is called the Calamare installation utility, which is a very... Let's just pause right here to give YouTube a chance to maybe pick up a screenshot here. Facebook.com live Linux stories. Okay, so I guess by default it's going to do the installation for us. So because it says Deb, it also means it's probably, it should be Debian based. Alright. And this distribution was updated fairly recently. Okay. So if you're familiar with Debian, it uses the, what's it called? It uses its own installation management tool. Well, my guess is if this is designed to be easy to use, this probably has a graphical installation tool as part of it. Of course, as part of our install, what are we going to do? We'll see if we can install some form of Python package management, like particularly UV. If that fails, we can also just try to install, we can just use the standard, what's it called? The V environment module, okay? GNOME Display Manager, starting GDM service, Display Manager. Good. Oh, look at this. We're actually already logged in, aren't we? This is interesting. So is there actually an install process? Install DebEX. Okay, this is kind of interesting. No, okay, now we're going to the install. Oops, sorry about that. You know, by all means, if drop by the chat session and say hi. Okay, American English. Look at all this. I'll mention that this is what's called a word cloud, and it's used a lot of DebEX Linux on your computers for install. This is used in data analysis to do like text analysis. So this is called a word cloud, okay? And the larger the word, the more times the word actually occurs. Okay, American English, very good. New York, yes, I am. English, default, US, English, US, yes, that's correct. Erase disk. Do this. User. I'll use something tricky like that. I'll leave that the way it is. What the heck? Let's see. Now let's call this DebEX. Password. We use, as DT would say, a strong encrypted password. And that's set, what are you going to do? Use the same password for administrator account, yes. Okay, good. Next, install. Again, a nice big word cloud here. Creating extent, your basic extent for installation. Of course, as always, my friends, if you're in the background here, don't be bashful. Just stop by and say hi, okay? Now, you know, I'm going to tell you, I would say that Linux is not my, as the expression goes, is okay. So we're going to get some pithy. So it's Xton Linux or Xton Linux. I would say I'm not really, you know, honestly, you know, I've been a Slackware user since the late 90s. I remember when, for instance, when the kernel turned 1. I can remember when Firefox turned 1. But you know what? But I would honestly say that my daily operating system is Windows 11. I have virtual boxes installed. Let's open up here and see if we can find out what's actually going on here. I mean, I have Slackware current installed on a virtual machine. I have DebEX installed. I have GhostBSD, which I've been tinkering with a little bit, installed also. I'll be right back. I'll give me something to drink. Don't go away. Hey, stop by the chat session and say hi. Also, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. Okay. So this will so it's 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time. This will probably take. I mean, you would think it would take less time because it's a smaller installation, but I'm going to say it's probably going to take 10 to 15 minutes to install. Okay. So I'm going to go get me a book, something to read while I'm waiting here. Of course, be sure to come back this evening around 8 o'clock for my latest reports. Let's see what stocks are going to be reported on today, okay? We should be back to our Vanguard Life Strategy funds starting today in the next 4 days. So let's see which one we have today. Okay, so I started listening to the record of the old 97 today. Watched a short video about it. Well, it isn't based on an actual event, okay. It's also considered, one of the things the person said is that, well, you know, he probably wasn't going 90 miles an hour. The company said 70, observers said 50. Anyway you look at it, he's heading from Danville, he's been from Spencer to Danville, I think it was, or Danville to Spencer. And there was a 4-mile grade, okay. I'm just kind of getting myself set up for this evening's session here. Okay. There. We're at 15%. So this is kind of a mishmash of activity, right? There's no point sitting there watching the entire thing unfold, right? So let's toggle log. Now we got the install log. Okay. Here's a little something to watch there. Danville. So I'm not a day trader. I'm not even really. I'm more of a long-term investor. But I like to look at the numbers and I like to use R to understand the numbers. Okay. And I do some very lightweight forecasting also. I mean, I don't try to forecast closing prices or anything like that. I try to basically try to see if I can do a trend analysis. Is the stock going to close higher or lower at the end of the month, or is it going to trend within a certain range? Okay. So if you pardon me while I run a few things here, just to see what's going on, okay? So go over here, okay. Says the field summary. You may be interested in this kind of fund if you're mostly concerned about if you're mostly concerned. This is the income fund, mostly concerned about current income or an acceptable limited growth potential. So we come over here. Well, let's just look at the forecast. Let's just run the forecast, shall we? So I'm basically trying to forecast the closing price range for the month of October. And because this is a fund and not an individual stock, they normally report the closing price from the day before. And the other thing is because it's a fund, you don't report volume, they don't report high and low prices and stuff like that. It's just 16%. Funds only report closing price, and that's all. No high and low price, no adjusted price, no volume. Okay, so that finished. Then we're going to run the adjusted AI thing. Let's come back over here now. Watch this for a moment or two. So it's got a nice eagle in the background there, doesn't it? October 14th, yes, that's correct. What's this up here? Now it's interesting, this over here, I think this minimizes it, okay? Like I said, this is probably going to take about 15 minutes to complete, okay? So, I started reading the new book by a well-known evangelical preacher, Joyce Myers. Her book is entitled "In Search of Wisdom: Life-Changing Truth in the Book of Proverbs." Danville, Virginia. Let me minimize this. So you got all this stuff down here now, right? Firefox, a LX terminal, file manager, snapshot engine, tweaks, synoptic package manager, SM player, GNU manipulation program, screenshot, install, and Refracta installer. Interesting. Show apps. So that's still running. So I'll let you take a look at the desktop here. Okay. And I'll be back in a few moments when this actually finishes installing. $25%. I will mention I also use it for, my generation was taught cursive writing, but we weren't taught to write with fountain pens. So a few months ago, actually almost a year ago now, good grief, I started getting interested in fountain pens, okay? And my most recent, I have I'm not a collector. I don't go out and spend, $1,000 for a fountain pen, which you can do. For instance, my most recent pen is what's called a Pilot Metropolitan. It was like $35, I think, what I paid for it. It's considered, it's a fairly popular, introductory fountain pen. Nice thing about it is if you can just try to visualize it, it has what I describe as being the traditional cigar shape, tapered body, rounded on the ends. It's not a physically very big pen. It's about medium size. It fits very nice in your hand. I got the black anodized version, so it's all black, and it has a fine nib. And it came with a black ink cartridge for some reason. So I ordered some additional black ink. Like I said, I got other pens I used for different reasons. I got a couple Monteverde pens. I got what else do I got? Well, probably the two Monteverdes is the one I was using the most. Okay, one had a medium nib, and one had a fine nib. But I really like the feel and both the feel of the shape of the body, how it fits in my hand. The Pilot Metropolitan, I really like it, how it feels in my hand. I like the way the nib feels when I'm writing because it's a fine nib. I'll mention that the Pilot Metropolitan comes in a fair number of colors, okay, body colors, and it has three main nibs. It has a fine nib, a medium nib, and a 1 millimeter nib. Now, supposedly the medium nib is closer to what would be a fine nib on a lot of other pens. The 1 millimeter nib is kind of interesting. It's sort of a semi-calligraphy pen nib because it's slightly wider, 1 millimeter wide. So if you draw it down, so you can use the 1 millimeter width to make wide lines, and you can sort of use the edge of that 1 millimeter nib to use to create more standard type of writing. So you can do some little embellishments to your writing style. Okay. I mentioned I went to my first pen show last year in October. It was the Ohio Pen Show, and it's coming up at the end of the month, and I'm probably going to go to it again. And we're up to 55% now. We've been at it for about almost 5 minutes. Okay, so it could maybe take us another 5 minutes to finish the install. And after we finish the install, we're going to install a couple. See what we can do to install some stuff. Okay. See if we can, in particular, see if we can find maybe the R language to install. Let's do this. Let's click on this. Let's open up a terminal. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's our terminal. This is kind of a pretty terminal. And df root is currently, okay, so this isn't, it says overlay, so this isn't actually the actual dev overlay services. Okay, here we are here. Okay, and I set up 25 gigabytes of data, and we used about 29%. Okay, let's go over here. Oh, look at this, it's almost done. Hang on, this didn't take long at all, did it? Wow. So this took about, we start now, done. Now do we need to come over here? Let's see if it uninstalls the okay, so it's uninstalled the CD. Is removed. Danville, Virginia, you're running behind. So we talked about stocks, or we talked about fountain pens. But I want to encourage you, if you haven't used a fountain pen, go out, get an inexpensive fountain pen like the Metropolitan, and so you can actually see what it's like to write with a fountain pen. So it says Debian 13. But we haven't got the desktop yet. We got that. So let's come back down here for a moment. So that finished. Now we can do an evaluation of the models. And it's saying that 3 out of 4 times the naive is the most accurate, and I'm going to say a close second is the REMA. Now, I'll mention here, I'm not an expert on models, but essentially naive is sort of like a benchmark. You know, if your more advanced models aren't outperforming the naive, then you're probably using the wrong model. Okay, so let's go back over here now. So how do I install a Debian from the command line? Okay, good. Now, it's taken a few moments for the desktop to appear. Does it not have a what about update? Let's look at settings. Oh, it's kind of odd because it doesn't actually start out with the default desktop, does it? I'm looking for something really bright. That looks good. All right. So where's our main menu at? What's this then? All right. So we do this, and we lose our menu. So I don't quite understand what that does. Takes out the window manager. Now, as we know, this is actually Debian, right? So, mark all upgrades. So, let's do this. And then we got that nice, but to me it's not obvious. See what happened? Why does this keep happening for? Okay. Let's take a look at our space first of all. Our root is 30%, so we have 17 gigabytes available. How do I upgrade packages in Debian Linux? So we say sudo here's this point. If you knew the Linux, you wondered how to manage packages from the command prompt. Well, this saved you a lot of problems, okay? Then you do an upgrade, right? So the question is Python installed. "90 miles an hour, his whistle broke into a scream. He was going down the grade when his hair brakes to death by the steam." Oh, you obviously need to come up here and do some more tweaking, right? Because I don't understand why this does that for. Okay, good. Now we go upgrade. $260. Trixie Security Main. So far, this is rather nice. Now supposedly this is set up so it only uses the portion of the partition that it needs at any given time. So if of course, we probably don't have. So if we had say 100, 100 gigabyte partition for this system, and we only use 25. Well, it's only going to actually allocate that 25 or whatever, or 50, say, okay. Now, as you saw, once again, why do we keep doing this for? I don't understand what this is about. Okay? Why does it keep changing this for? So we got this. So it's Python installed. So why is it installing Python 2? Let's take a look at shells. So they don't have fish installed. Okay. And of course Emacs isn't installed in that case. So we're really download a whole boatload of stuff here, aren't we? So it downloads, then it unpacks, okay? I mean, I honestly don't understand why they're still installing Python 2. Let's try this one more time. So, all right. So what we should do, we should create a symbolic link from. We should create a let's do this. Let's do SUDO LN let's create a symbolic link from user bin Python 13. Okay. Bin slash one 3, right? Okay, so traditionally you're going to have a symbolic link to your main Python interpreter. Okay. All right. And we're at 31%. Installing a bunch of Debian packages. Let's just do something a little funky, shall we? Install. Let's see if we can install UV. UV, okay, so we can't lock. Okay, that makes sense. UV is the latest, greatest in Python management utilities. It's built in Rust, it's compiled, and it's really fast, and it really downloads Python packages fast. Okay, I mean, it is fast. All right. Other options are Anaconda, but you know, one of the other advantages of UV is that it's also, because it's fast, it's also small. It's just a single binary. So and Anaconda was really popular and good. tends to, to me, it tends to be rather, kind of bloatware, okay? Not bloatware, but it seems it takes up quite a bit of space. We're at 45%, okay? Let's just keep an eye on our space here. So we got 16 gigabytes available, okay? So we don't have a lot of space available to work with. But most of our data isn't going to be that big, okay? That's the thing you have to understand. Most of our data isn't that big. So what we're going to do, when we finish this, we're going to do a reboot. So everybody, we made this call this session to a close. 30 minutes is enough, okay? And I'll make a few tweaks offline. I wonder if I could do something like Samba. Samba is a service that allows you to share your Linux drives on a Windows. It allows you to do a connection between your Linux drives and a Windows machine. Okay, it treats it as if it's just another network file system. Okay. I haven't got out to work in recent history, but it is. Historically, one of the things that was really good about Linux, that they had really good documentation. They had a whole series of what was called FAQs and how-Qs to do all kinds of things with Linux. Of course, you don't hear much about them anymore, but back in the day, they were very important. And they're very important, and they were very easy to install. Okay? So we're almost through here. Who knows? I may even go back offline. Well, no, I will say I may. Brandy, the default action is to keep the current hang on. Let's see. Configuration Calamari Debian description. Package distributor has shipped an updated version. Would you like to install the package maintainers version to keep your current version? Let's install the new version. There. The DebEX terminal is pretty nice, isn't it? Now here's your YouTube video tip for today. When you do a search for someone in the video, as far as I can tell, the only thing it searches is the title. So any words you want any search words you want people to find you with, you want to try to put them in the title. Okay, that may be more. You can have a really catchy title, but if it doesn't contain the word of a search term I'm looking for, that it won't find your video, right? Okay, so can we shut this down from here? How do we shut it down? Wire, style. How do we shut it down? First, let's go over here, see if we can find something out here. New window. The trouble is, we want this to be the question is, how do you shut it down? There's no pop-up menu. Settings. So it's kind of curious, isn't it? System. Secure shell. About. Interesting. How do you shut it down? You don't see a menu down there, do you? You see this over here. What's tweaks? Well, I'm going to do this, minimize this, open up a terminal, EO, and there you have it. That brings this session to a close.